Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana, how are you?
Good.
You're all blue today. I like your blue-purple, all of it going on.
Thanks. Switching up the lights, the LED lights in here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get mine a little more moody in here. So real quick, we're going to do a quick conversation today around a conversation that I had with my trainer. I have a new trainer. I think I told you this. My other trainer, well, first of all, the trainer I have, I've had forever. However, he hasn't always been my trainer. So what I mean by that is I followed him to 5 gyms. His name is Adam.
I remember.
And, but when I started wanting to work out at home, I still reached out to him and said, who do you know? So he sent me 2 trainers, that worked out with me at my house. And then my last trainer, he, was building a house real far away and going to build a shop. And so he wasn't going to come in as much. And so I reached out to Adam again and I said, Adam, hey, I just want somebody that I can drop into their sessions when I'm in town because I'm traveling so much that I feel I'm a highly responsible person. So I feel bad if somebody makes money off their time with me and I'm not using it.
Yeah.
And so I could almost feel guilty if I was out of town and I can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So Adam said, sure, I'm going to actually work with just a few of clients and blah, 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 which I love Adam. I've been with him forever. He's so smart. So we had our first session today, which I'm very sore from. So good job, Adam. But I love it because to me.
Wait, do you have a dog?
Well, actually, it's not my dog. It's Ellie's dog.
It's like, is that a dog? What's going on? Oh, that's right. I forgot.
It's cute.
He's so cute.
Okay. So anyway, I love when you can have a trainer and you have good conversations too, because the training goes by so much faster.
Yeah.
So he said to me, and he'd said this to me a few months ago, he came up to me after I finished working out with Jeremy and he said, Linda, I need to tell you something. And I said, okay, what? And he said, I should have listened to you 25 years ago. And I said, oh, really? What do you mean? He goes, well, you just gave me so much business coaching and I just wasn't ready for it. So here we are 25 years later. He's still been training this whole time. And he said, I'm doing a program and they're teaching me about, how to set up a system and do all that stuff. And my aha in having this conversation with him is trainers are a lot like realtors.
Yeah.
The problem we have is if you're a solo trainer or solo agent, you can only make so much money. It's really hard to get leverage.
Yep.
At least in our business, the ticket is higher and you can leverage out the less dollar productive activities. But we still have the same problem. We will always hit a ceiling until we learn how to leverage through people.
Yeah.
And so I was asking him because, one of the things that I've really started to understand, my purpose is I help successful but overworked real estate entrepreneurs understand the power of leverage and passive income so that they can get freedom and margin for what matters most to them. But I realized one day what we really do is if you look at Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, we actually help people move from the left to the right.
Yep.
So to be more specific on helping overworked entrepreneurs, that's what I love to do.
Yep.
But I realized he's back at the same place 25 years later because he didn't understand and master leverage. And so I thought about it through the real estate agent lens and I thought, okay, as agents, we have to decide, are we going to go all in and build a business?
Yep.
Because I think all the frustration comes when they keep it as a job.
But do you remember, Linda, what Tony DeSello has always said? Ask yourself when you wake up every day and you open your eyes and you roll your feet out of the bed and your feet hit the floor, do you think of yourself as a realtor or as a true business owner? And 90% of them would say that they think of themselves as a real estate agent, as a realtor. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, because that's staying on the left side of the quadrant. It's not moving over to the right side.
You're smack dab in the S, self-employed. Well, and then I realized that it's the people that gets them hung up. And so, and it's, when you think about people, it's like, okay, it can be overwhelming. It's like, okay, there's so many pieces about people. But I told him, I said, Adam, you have to understand people are the highest form of leverage, but they're also the hardest.
Yeah.
So and even somewhere today, when I was talking to one of my agents from the Leadership Academy, they were saying that they had lost their first person that they didn't expect to lose, and what that felt like.
Yeah.
And how they were, shocked by it. And so I think it's the shock of the things that happen with people in your business or on your team, whether it's your customers and clients right now that are freaking out over the new rules and all the things, or you're getting objections that you never got before, or you afraid you're going to get them. It's the same very thing. If you don't go into these situations shocked by what happens, you ask yourself, okay, what is this teaching me? Is this teaching me, I don't have a good process to get the right person in the right spot? Am I not listening to where they want to go and what they want to do?
Yeah. It's so funny that you're bringing this up, Linda, because I just had this conversation with such a dear friends of ours. And the husband owns his own business. He's not in real estate, but he owns his own business, and he has a very successful, great business. But the business is him. Like, he shows up every day. If he doesn't do the install, like, there's nobody else that does the sales. There's nobody else that does the install. There's nobody that shows up to their house. It's him. And again, he has a great business. And his wife said, I just wish so bad that he would grow it, that he would hire some people so that we could do even more. But she said his fear is that no one will be able to do it like he can do it. And I said, that's exactly how realtors are too. Like, we're all, and sounds like that's just like how Adam the trainer is probably too. But and also when you said the agent today who lost their first person, like, I don't know I feel like it never gets easier when you lose somebody, and like, it happens, and then someone better comes along, and then someone better. Like, I remember how devastated I was when I lost my first admin, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, but now I have Heather, and she's like my best friend and the best person ever. It's like, it does keep getting better. It sucks in the moment, but you get better, and then you like top grade almost every single time. But it's a struggle. I totally agree. It's interesting that Adam is feeling that way too after all those years.
Well, and I think the thing too is you've got to have people around you to walk you through. Press and I were talking about this the other day, because part of our Made for More stuff is helping people with the people side of it.
Right.
And I said, Press, when I watch so many people struggle with the people side, part of me realizes I had Gary Keller walking beside me.
That's right. Yeah.
He protected me from me.
Yeah.
Or he helped me see, Linda, that's normal.
Yeah.
This is going to happen. Just like the day I was in his mastermind and he looked around the room and said, do you know how many people are in this room that were here from the very beginning? And it was just me and Jimmy.
Wow.
And I went, oh, who am I to think that the people I've had forever are going to stay forever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think the problem is, we don't have business mentor and coaching on the people side of it. And it's so needed.
Yeah.
It is so
totally
needed.
agree.
I mean, if I can't tell you the leadership calls I've been on that I catch someone right before they go do something and I wait a minute, let's think about this differently. But our normal way of thinking when you've come from being a solopreneur or a, single business owner isn't the same thinking that you need to learn how to lead people.
Yeah.
And we really don't,
totally
honestly. So I told Press, I said, to everyone's defense, that no one's had that. I got lucky. Gary needed me to succeed at it. So his Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, I was proof of concept with one person at least that would do it. But I had him to kind of mentor me at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I would have done. I wouldn't have been as successful at it. I know. So we were talking about the need for, and I realized this with Adam, he has nobody to help him see, and they lose trainers all the time.
Yep.
And so I was asking him questions about, well, where do you get your, it's like any program. You can get a real estate license. You can get any kind of business license you want. What they don't teach you very well is how to lead generate, the part of it that's the most important.
Yep.
And for him, trainers are what he needs to lead generate.
Yeah.
And we just were talking through, first of all, he had to switch his mindset. Mm-hmm. And a lot of realtors do this too. And I remember he was so hung up on them doing it the way he thought it should be done. Mm-hmm. the quality, he kept calling the word quality, which don't realtors do that all the time?
Yep. They won't do it as good as me. Yep.
Well, yeah, quality comes in procedures and standards that you
That's
put
right.
in place.
Yeah.
And instead, they keep thinking that that person's going to do it exactly like them.
Yeah.
And I just heard so much of what Adam was
Yep.
talking about, what I hear in realtors, what I've heard in myself,
Yep.
you know, all of those things that you just don't know when that one thing is the thing that's holding you back from really learning to master. Okay, maybe I'm too focused on how they're doing it, and if I want the quality, I need to set up a system and a standard or a training to get that quality.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they just want the service that you provide. It doesn't have to be you. I mean, you can get people who will provide better service than you in some situations or instances.
Yeah. So it was just a huge eye opening that really all small businesses are the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can put the name real estate on it. You can put the name trainer on it. You can put the name restaurant owner on it. The ceiling that most will hit is when it comes to the people part of it.
Yeah.
And they get somewhat good at it, but they don't choose to master it. And they don't get around other people that can help them understand, oh, hey, you lost your best person.
Mm-hmm.
That can be normal, but there is a way you can go back. It could happen, but how could you go back and prevent it if you could have prevented it? But then sometimes you're just never going to prevent it. You have to have something, dreams and goals way bigger than that one person. And you have to know that the people you finish with won't be necessarily all the people you start with. And
that's such a great point.
It has to not drive you crazy and make you, nuts.
Go ahead.
I was talking to him about, the way a trainer leaves, because look at our example in Columbus, by staying in a relationship with people that we loved and care about and were sick about leaving.
Yep.
They don't do that when trainers leave. I'm sure they leave on bad notes.
Yep, totally.
I'm like, you've got to leave on a good note so the door's open if they ever want to come back through.
I always remember what Gary said, love them as much on the way out as you loved them on the way in. And I just think about that every time. And it's hard because you're so upset. I mean, like you just are like, oh, I feel punched in the gut. But it's so true if that matters so much. You just made me think of the funniest thing. I can remember being a solo realtor and needing to make my first hire. And it was about really the time I came to Keller Williams, because prior to that, when I was at Remax, I would hire assistants. But I've shared this in my classes that I teach, but it was like so stupid. I mean, somebody would say, oh, you should meet this girl. She's looking for a job, or so-and-so needs extra work. And I'd meet him and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love your earrings. You have a Yorkie? I have a Yorkie too. You're hired. Yeah. And it would never work out. I mean, it would never work out. We would just either end up trying to kill each other, or they were too much like me. And it was just like the worst thing ever. But no one had ever taught me how to hire anybody. And so I truly did not know, but I also didn't even know what I needed to. So the point of me saying that was, I think everyone struggles with that. But now if I look back, what I hated then, which was leading people, hiring, and trying to figure out how to tell somebody what to do every day, is now the thing that gives me the most joy. And that's leading the people that I get to lead every single day. And so,
but do you think that's changed because of the quality of people you've learned to hire, or because you've learned the skills better, you enjoy it more? Which one do you think causes you to
I think because I've learned the skills, because even the hard ones that maybe sometimes I don't enjoy leading, as much as some of the others, I've learned the skills, and also I've learned the power of leverage. I've reaped it. And so once you get a feel and a taste of that, then you're like, man, you can do so much more with a team than with just me by myself. And so I think even though it's hard as hell in the beginning, once you push through that and you get a little taste of leverage, and you get to see what it's like to teach somebody else. I love to be able to teach Sarah, you taught me things. I turn around and teach them to Sarah, or, and it feels good. That part feels good too, where in the beginning, I mean, if you had asked me 11 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I can't lead anybody. I'll just do my own thing. And so it's just interesting to think about that.
So that's a really good point, Dana. And there's so many people that get to that point and they don't push through. What do you think what is the difference between what made you go ahead and push through? Because a lot of people get to that really hard rub or that friction, and they just, they either keep hitting the same wall with people, or what do you think is the difference? Why did you push through it? And so many just either say, well, I just want to either go join a team, or I want to, somebody else to do this part.
I mean, if I really think about it, I think it's because I knew I always wanted more. I mean, I wanted to do more. I wanted to do something bigger. I knew I felt like I was, actually, it's silly to say because I'm staring at it on your screen right now, but I really felt like I was made for more, to be honest. And I couldn't do it alone. And so, even on the hard times and also, you get to a point where like you want to be able to enjoy some of the things that you are starting to earn. And without other people around you, you don't have time to enjoy the things or go on vacation or, be able to spend time with your kids or your family. I mean, you have to have the other people. So I don't know. I think it was I just always wanted more. And I knew that I had to have other people to be able to do that. I could, quite frankly, and you know this, but I could have never kept my market centers and lived in Charleston at the same time if I didn't have great people that I was leading that were helping me run the offices. There's no way. So my life couldn't have even have gotten bigger or where I wanted it to go if I would have just said, okay, well, I'm just going to keep doing it on my own. It would have completely held me back. Yeah.
And I think when I hear you say that, people have to really have the desire to want more and more than they are willing to just give up because of the pain of trying to succeed through people. And then I think sometimes people also are not willing to work on themselves. I mean, you've done a ton of work on yourself.
Still do. Yeah.
So all of us have. Yeah. Because you have to do that. You have to do some rewiring inside yourself.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, period, aren't willing to do that, or they don't ever see it to do it. And then I think the other thing too is, I think they don't give it long enough to really get a talented person to feel that gust of energy that comes underneath a talented person. Yeah. Because once you feel that, you know what it feels like. I remember it took us years to get a person like that. But once you get that, man, you know that that's different and that you want more of that.
That's so true. Yeah, that's so true.
Wow. So I think my aha from this is let me tell you something that happened in Strategic Coach, because this is kind of along these lines. We have to change the way we think about who we are. So I was in a Strategic Coach this past week, and we had to do this exercise about your best experiences and your best successes, and you had to correlate and get your insights from it. And my insights were, the foundation of all of my success has been in one word: recruiting.
Wow.
Right? And so we had to each talk.
That's so true, by the way. That is true
so
for
true.
You.
So true. God. And I look at my schedule and go, okay, where is that, Linda? Where are you doing that at? Right. So it works so good in my life, I stopped it, or I don't do as much of it. I haven't stopped it. I still do it. So in the exercise, it was a small group. So all of us went around and you talk about your insights. Dan said something to me. He said, okay, there's a guy in our organization named Paul. And he said, why don't you stop thinking about the recruiting? And because I was telling him kind of where we are this year and, where the industry is and everything. And he said, what if you woke up and you stopped seeing yourself as that, and you woke up and said, I'm a merger and acquisition company?
Oh, wow. Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So you just totally throw out the door who you were yesterday.
Wow.
And so I brought this up with Sarah, who works closely with me, and they gave me the name of the guy that did it. This is where he had the idea. This guy did it, and it changed everything for his company. I can't remember what kind of company he was in.
Wow.
He might have been in a financial planner or something. So I put a call into this guy because I want to know, what'd you do differently?
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to see a blueprint of a merger and acquisition company. But think about just that one shift.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow we're not that, we're this.
Mm-hmm.
So if tomorrow you said, I no longer am a real estate agent with a job, I'm no longer in the self-employed quadrant, I am now a business owner, and I can't do anything outside those boundaries.
Wow, why is Dan so smart is really what the main question that I have.
No kidding. And, it's because he experiences so many different, I had a call with him not too long ago, and I said, have you ever seen this happen in an industry? He goes, oh yeah. y'all's number just came up. I'm like, really? I mean, but somehow there's comfort
there
in
is.
knowing, okay,
Yep.
this is just our number coming up, right?
Yep.
Somebody's, that this is going to happen. Industries have graduallys and suddenlies.
Yep.
We got to move on. We got to adjust. We got to figure out how to work it. But anyway, that was just a huge game changer for me. So ever since then, I've been thinking, okay, if I'm a merger and acquisition company, what do I do differently? How does my calendar look? What's my dialogue to other people?
Yep.
How does that sound? So I think tomorrow, if people woke up and said, I'm no longer an agent that's self-employed.
Yep.
Yes, I'm a business owner with no true business thing, but that's what my goal is to fulfill that label that I've now given myself.
Yep. I love that.
So anyway, it was super impactful. It was, all of it just kind of came together this week between my trainer, Dan Sullivan, and just talking to some of my people on my leadership team and hearing their frustration around, the people side of it.
Yep. So I guess before we wrap up, maybe we should say if someone is listening and they're like, yes, this is me, like, what's the first thing we need to tell them to do? Like Adam, for example, you're Adam. Like what was the first piece of advice that you gave him? I mean, I think they need to learn how to work with people better. You kind of said that, or, hire people.
Yeah. Well, I think number one, a lot of times agents and business owners, they go to join programs that are all about the systems.
Yeah.
But what they need to do is join some kind of program that has another group of business owners in it.
Yep.
That you can get what I got from Gary, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things Press and I are even working on putting together is a mastermind around the people side of your life. Mm-hmm. So it's a place where you can go. Like when I would say to Gary, God, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. This one girl, she's supposed to be a partner and you wouldn't believe what she did. He'd say, yeah, let me tell you when that happened to me. And you're like, oh, okay. That's a little bigger than what happened to me. Okay. I must be on the right track. So I think you need to, like you did with in the last episode when you talked about going to lunch with your people.
Yeah.
A place you can vent and listen to how other people handle it, or listen to someone who's been farther down the journey and learn, okay, maybe I am micromanaging the person. Maybe I am, the thing I hate to hear people say is, oh, they're not ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe you're just saying they're not ready when you should just put some people out there and see what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
everything you just
things.
said too is like, I think like they need to go get a coach or get a mentor, get in a room, get in a community, like get somewhere where you can hear, because when it's happening to you, you think that you're the only person that it's happening to. But then like you said with Gary, when you get out and talk to other people, you're like, oh, that happened to you and this happened to you too. And okay, it's not as bad as what I thought that it was. Yeah.
Well, and the first thing I told Adam is, do you even know how to recognize talent
in
your industry? Do you even know who you're looking for?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because he's now got to leverage himself through other trainers. And
who's his avatar? Yep.
Yeah. So who are you even looking for? And then what are you doing so far? And what are some of your options? We talked about, there is some training that people go through. I said, do they have to have a license? Because I was checking to see if maybe our profit share sites would work for them.
Yeah.
Anybody that has a license, I think these profit share sites would work for. So I'm just asking him questions. And, you almost get overwhelmed when you've been on someone's journey, because you're like, oh, where do I start even telling them what coaching them, because it's so much. But I think just asking him questions and, when I can, give a tip, or, one of the things I said to him 25 years ago is, why don't you buy your building? There's probably several of us that you train that would invest with you on a building. Guess what? If he'd have done that, it would be paid off today. Well, it'd be close. It might not be paid off, but it'd be close.
He's like everybody else that now what we do is drive around and say, I should have bought that house, and I should have bought that house, and I should have bought this.
Yes. So true. So true.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so, all right. Well, I'm going to
helpful. I hope this was helpful for a lot of people. I have a couple people in mind I missed in this episode too. So
yeah. So true. Well, I think business is business, and I think we can learn, even if you've got a trainer or another business owner that listen closely and hear your own situations in them and figure out, even I learn a lot from what I see people do wrong. Gosh, am I doing that somewhere in my business?
Yeah.
Am I treating people that way? Am I not giving accolades when I should? Am I not, recognizing them? Those kind of things.
Yeah, totally true.
Awesome. So if you have not, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And the greatest compliment you can pay Dana and I is pass this podcast along to anybody that you think could value these conversations. If you have a challenge, a question, a guest that you think would be good on the podcast, be sure and reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. Dana, I guess I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.